The distant research outpost on Epsilon Proxima trembled as Dr. Marcus Rodriguez adjusted his protective gear. The emergency klaxons blared a haunting melody of impending doom, echoing through the sterile corridors of the interstellar research facility. Outside the reinforced windows, the alien landscape of the mining planet stretched out, a desolate expanse of rust-colored rock and swirling dust storms. Marcus wasn't a military man, nor was he a traditional first-contact specialist. He was a xenobiological researcher with a reputation for remaining calm in the most chaotic situations. His olive skin was etched with lines of concentration, dark eyes scanning the latest data streaming across the holographic displays. "Incoming transmission from the Zornak medical team," announced Araya, the facility's advanced AI assistant. Her voice was deliberately modulated to maintain calm, a programmed response to high-stress scenarios. The transmission flickered to life. Commander Krelax of the Zornak species appeared, his translucent skin pulsing with an unhealthy grayish-green hue. Even through the digital interface, Marcus could see the desperation in the alien's multifaceted eyes. "Dr. Rodriguez, we are experiencing a catastrophic outbreak." Krelax's voice trembled, a rare display of emotion for his typically stoic species. "Our initial containment efforts have failed. The virus is spreading exponentially." Marcus leaned forward, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Walk me through the symptoms. When did the first cases appear?" The story of the outbreak began to unfold. What had started as a minor respiratory infection in a remote mining colony had rapidly transformed into something far more sinister. The Zornak, a species known for their advanced medical technologies and hyper-efficient immune systems, were falling victim to a pathogen that defied all known medical understanding. "Our initial data suggests a mortality rate of over 90%, Krelax continued, his voice breaking. "We've never encountered anything like this. Our medical teams are overwhelmed, our containment protocols ineffective." Marcus's mind raced. The Zornak were not just another alien species. They were the most medically advanced civilization humanity had encountered. Their biological research was centuries ahead of human capabilities. For them to be this vulnerable suggested something extraordinary was happening. Dr. Elena Kaminsky, Marcus's research partner, entered the communication hub. Her auburn hair was pulled back into a tight bun, her green eyes scanning the data with intense focus. "The genetic sequencing is unlike anything we've seen," she muttered, pulling up additional holographic displays. The virus seemed to be a perfect predator. It bypassed traditional immune responses, mutated rapidly, and attacked cellular structures with unprecedented efficiency. Where most pathogens would trigger an immune response, this virus seemed to overwhelm the body's defenses before they could even recognize the threat. "We need a sample," Marcus said firmly. "Direct transmission, controlled environment." Araya's voice cut through the tension. "Risk assessment indicates a 72.6% chance of potential cross-species contamination." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Those are better odds than what the Zornak are facing right now." Within hours, a carefully packaged biological sample arrived via automated quarantine shuttle. The research facility transformed into a high-security containment zone. Every corridor was sealed, every entrance monitored by multiple layers of protective systems. Marcus stood in the primary research chamber, surrounded by layers of protective equipment that made him look more like an astronaut than a scientist. The virus sample sat in a magnetically sealed containment unit, its microscopic structure dancing across the high-resolution screens. "This is going to change everything," Elena whispered, her voice a mixture of scientific excitement and profound concern. Little did they know how prophetic those words would become. The virus that was decimating the Zornak population was about to reveal something extraordinary about human biology, a secret that would reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. As the first day of research concluded, Marcus looked out over the alien landscape. Somewhere out there, an entire civilization was fighting for survival, and humanity might be their only hope. The true battle was just beginning. The research facility hummed with an electric tension that was almost palpable. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez stood before a massive holographic display, his fingers tracing the complex genetic sequences of the alien virus. Beside him, Dr. Elena Kaminsky worked tirelessly, her eyes burning with the intensity of scientific discovery. "Look at this," Elena muttered, zooming in on a particular section of the viral genome. "The mutation rate is unprecedented. It's like the virus is actively learning, adapting with each cellular invasion." Commander Krulax appeared on the communication screen, his already translucent skin now seeming almost transparent with exhaustion. "Our population is collapsing," he reported, his voice a mixture of scientific detachment and profound grief. "We've lost 73% of our planetary population in less than 2 weeks." Marcus leaned closer to the display, a pattern beginning to emerge. "It's not just a virus," he said slowly. "It's almost like an intelligent adaptive system. The way it bypasses immune responses, it's calculating." Araya, the facility's AI, began running complex simulations. Millions of potential scenarios flickered across the screens, each one ending in the same catastrophic result. Except for one. "Anomaly detected," Araya announced. "Human immune response shows unique characteristics." Elena's head snapped up. "What kind of characteristics?" The holographic display shifted, revealing complex immunological data. Where the Zornak immune system was a precision instrument, carefully targeted and methodical, human immune responses appeared chaotic, almost aggressive. "Our immune system doesn't play by the rules," Marcus realized. Where the Zornak immune response is a precise surgical strike, ours is more like a full-scale bombardment. Preliminary blood tests from the initial human exposure cases told a remarkable story. Dr. Raj Patel, one of the first humans infected, had not only survived, but was showing rapid recovery. His immune markers were off the charts, a violent, uncontrolled response that somehow managed to overwhelm the virus. "We need more samples," Elena said, her excitement growing. "We need to understand why our bodies react so differently." A global emergency conference was quickly assembled. Representatives from Earth's top medical research institutions gathered virtually, with Marcus and Elena presenting their initial findings. The implications were staggering. Dr. Aisha O'Keek, head of the Global Pandemic Response Team, leaned forward. "Are you suggesting that human biology might be the key to saving the Zornak?" "Not just might be," Marcus responded. "We are." The next 48 hours became a whirlwind of research. Blood samples were collected from survivors of the initial exposure. Each sample told a slightly different story, but a common thread emerged. The human immune system didn't just fight the virus, it attacked it with a brutality that was both terrifying and miraculous. "It's like our immune system doesn't know the meaning of proportional response," Elena explained during a briefing. "Where most biological systems would carefully calibrate their attack, ours goes nuclear." Commander Krulax listened intently, a mix of hope and desperation in his alien eyes. "Can you replicate this response in our population?" The question hung in the air. It wasn't a simple yes or no. The human immune response was as much a potential threat as it was a potential cure. The aggressive nature that made humans survivors could also make them biological weapons. Marcus understood the weight of the moment. This wasn't just a medical breakthrough. This was a potential turning point in interstellar relations. Humanity was no longer just another species in the cosmic ecosystem. They were becoming something more. "We'll need to conduct extensive trials," he said carefully. "But for the first time since this outbreak began, we have hope." As night fell over the research facility, Marcus stood by the window. The rust-colored landscape of Epsilon Proxima stretched out before him. Somewhere out there, an entire civilization was hanging by a thread, waiting for a solution that only humans might be able to provide. The real work was just beginning. The United Nations Interstellar Council chamber buzzed with tension. Holographic displays flickered with real-time data from Epsilon Proxima, showing the devastating impact of the virus on the Zornak civilization. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez stood before the assembled global leaders, his presentation a delicate balance of scientific precision and urgent plea. "We're looking at more than just a medical crisis," Marcus explained, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "This is a potential turning point for interspecies relations." Ambassador Diane Reyes, head of Earth's extraterrestrial diplomatic corps, leaned forward. Her dark eyes reflected both concern and calculated consideration. The potential to save an entire alien civilization was unprecedented and politically explosive. "The risks are significant," she stated carefully. "Developing a treatment that involves manipulating human immune responses could have long-term consequences we can't fully predict." Dr. Alina Kaminsky stepped forward, a data pad projecting complex genetic models behind her. "The alternative is total extinction of the Zornak," she countered. "Our preliminary research shows we can develop a targeted approach that leverages our unique immune response without compromising human health." The chamber fell silent. The implications were enormous. Humanity had always been an outlier in galactic biological studies, more resilient, more adaptable than most known sentient species. Now that difference might save an entire civilization. Commander Krillax appeared via holographic transmission, his deteriorating condition evident. The once vibrant alien leader now looked like a translucent shadow of his former self. "We are hours away from total societal collapse," he stated bluntly. "Our medical infrastructure is overwhelmed. Our population is dying faster than we can document the losses." The numbers were staggering. 95% of the Zornak population had already perished. The remaining 5% were primarily in quarantine, waiting for a miracle that seemed increasingly unlikely. Araya, the research facility's AI, began running complex predictive models. Millions of potential scenarios flickered across the screens, each one a potential path to salvation or total destruction. "The primary challenge," Marcus explained, "is creating a treatment that can be administered to a species with fundamentally different biological mechanics. Our immune response is the key, but it's also our greatest obstacle." Dr. Raj Patel, the immunologist who had survived the initial exposure, presented a breakthrough. "We've identified a specific genetic marker," he explained. "It's not just about our aggressive immune response. There's a unique protein complex in human DNA that acts like a biological firewall." The room was divided. Military advisors saw potential biological weapon applications. Humanitarian representatives argued for immediate intervention. Diplomatic corps members worried about the long-term political ramifications. Ambassador Reyes made the decisive move. "We'll proceed," she announced, "but with strict international oversight." A temporary research facility was established in neutral space, a massive orbital station that would serve as both scientific laboratory and diplomatic meeting ground. The best minds from Earth and the remaining Zornak leadership would work together, watched carefully by an international monitoring committee. Marcus understood the gravity of the moment. This was more than a medical mission. This was humanity's first true test as a galactic civilization. "We're not just saving a species," he told Alina as they prepared for the first joint research session. "We're defining who we are as a civilization." The orbital station became a beacon of hope. Humans and the few remaining Zornak worked side by side, their differences both a challenge and an opportunity. Advanced alien medical technology merged with human biological resilience. Outside the station's reinforced windows, the vast emptiness of space stretched out, a reminder of how small and yet how significant this moment was. Humanity stood on the precipice of something extraordinary. A potential cure was within reach, but the path was fraught with complexity, danger, and unprecedented challenges. The real battle was just beginning. The orbital research station hummed with an intensity that bordered on desperation. Dr. Alina Kaminsky stood before a massive genetic sequencing array, her fingers moving rapidly across holographic interfaces. Surrounding her were scientists from two different worlds, humans, and the few remaining Zornak researchers, united by a singular purpose. "We're looking at more than just a cure," Elena muttered, more to herself than to her colleagues. "We're rewriting the rules of biological survival." Dr. Raj Patil approached, carrying a new set of test results. His normally calm demeanor was charged with an electric excitement. "The protein complex we identified isn't just unique," he said. "It's revolutionary. Our immune system doesn't just fight, it learns and adapts in real time." The remaining Zornak lead researcher, Zixtel, listened intently. Once a towering, vibrant being, Zixtel now appeared fragile, his translucent skin barely containing the life within. "Your biological systems are chaos," he observed. "Where our science seeks precision, yours embraces unpredictability." Marcus Rodriguez entered the lab, a holographic tablet displaying the latest global casualty reports. The Zornak civilization was on the brink of total extinction. Entire planetary systems had gone dark. What had started as a localized outbreak had become a galactic catastrophe. "We're running out of time," Marcus announced. The weight of millions of lives hung in his words. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A junior researcher, Maya Chen, noticed an anomaly in the genetic modeling. The human immune response wasn't just aggressive, it was intelligent. Each exposure to the virus created a unique adaptive response, a living memory that could be potentially transferred. "It's like our bodies are writing a new language of survival," Maya explained, her excitement barely contained. "Traditional immunology looks at immune response as a defensive mechanism. What we're seeing is more like an evolving intelligence." Zixtel leaned closer to the holographic display. "Your species does not see boundaries," he observed. "Where we see limitations, you see opportunities." The potential cure was emerging as something far more complex than a simple treatment. They weren't just fighting a virus, they were developing a new approach to biological survival that challenged everything known about interspecies medicine. Political tensions mounted. The United Nations Interstellar Council debated the ethical implications of the research. Some argued for caution, others for immediate action. Ambassador Diane Rice found herself navigating a diplomatic minefield more complex than any in human history. "We're talking about potentially rewriting the biological code of an entire species," she argued during a heated council session. "This isn't just a medical intervention. This is a fundamental reimagining of life itself." Back in the research station, the team worked in shifts that blurred the line between dedication and obsession. Computer systems ran endless simulations. Genetic models evolved in real time. The boundary between medical research and something closer to biological engineering became increasingly blurred. Marcus understood the profound nature of their work. This was more than saving the Zornak. This was a moment that would define humanity's role in the galaxy. "We're not just scientists," he told Elena during a rare moment of quiet. "We're architects of survival." As the station's artificial day cycle dimmed, casting a soft blue light across the research lab, something extraordinary was taking shape, a potential cure, a new understanding of biological adaptation, a testament to the unpredictable, relentless nature of human resilience. The galaxy watched and waited. The experimental treatment chamber glowed with an ethereal blue light. Dr. Elena Kaminsky held her breath as the first batch of synthesized treatment approached its critical testing phase. Months of research, countless sleepless nights, and the hopes of an entire civilization hung in the balance. Initiating cellular integration protocol, AI, the research station's AI, announced with clinical precision. The remaining Zornak scientists watched through reinforced observation windows. Zixtel, once proud and robust, now appeared as a fragile shadow of his former self. His species teetered on the edge of extinction, with less than 0.5% of the population still alive. Dr. Raj Patil monitored the genetic sequencing, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "The adaptive protein complex is showing unprecedented stability," he muttered. "If this works." The test subjects were a carefully selected group of critically ill Zornak volunteers. Each represented the last hope of their species, living testaments to a civilization on the brink of total collapse. The treatment was a hybrid approach, combining human immune response patterns with advanced Zornak medical technologies. Marcus Rodriguez stood silently, the weight of responsibility etched into every line of his face. This was more than a scientific experiment. This was humanity's first true test as a galactic civilization. The first test subject began to stabilize. Then the second. By the third, the research team allowed themselves a glimmer of hope. The human immune marker is acting like a template, Maya Chen explained, her voice a mixture of scientific excitement and disbelief. It's not just fighting the virus. It's teaching the Zornak immune system how to fight. Ambassador Diane Reyes received the preliminary reports in the United Nations Interstellar Council chamber. The political implications were staggering. Humanity had not just developed a cure, they had fundamentally reimagined interspecies medical intervention. This changes everything, she whispered to herself. Zixtal approached Marcus, his once vibrant form now translucent and fragile. Your species sees biology as a battlefield, he observed. Where we saw rigid systems, you see opportunity for adaptation. The treatment wasn't a miracle cure. It was complex, challenging, and would require years of follow-up research. But it was hope. Real, tangible hope. Global communication networks lit up with the news. For the first time since the outbreak began, there was a possibility of survival for the Zornak. Images of recovering patients spread across interstellar communication channels, a testament to human resilience and scientific innovation. We're not just saving a species, Marcus told Elena during a rare moment of quiet. We're redefining what's possible. The research station became a beacon of hope. Scientists from across the galaxy began to converge, drawn by the unprecedented breakthrough. Humanity had proven itself not just as survivors, but as potential saviors. As the first successful patients began their recovery, something profound became clear. This was more than a medical breakthrough. This was a moment that would reshape galactic understanding of biological potential. The virus that was meant to destroy had instead revealed something extraordinary about the nature of survival. Humanity's true potential was just beginning to emerge. 1 year after the initial outbreak, the Galactic Restoration Summit convened on a massive orbital station that had become a symbol of hope and cooperation. Representatives from hundreds of alien civilizations gathered to witness a moment that would redefine interstellar relations. Dr. Elena Kaminsky stood at the center of the chamber, her presentation a testament to humanity's unexpected role in galactic history. Behind her, holographic displays showed the remarkable recovery of the Zornak civilization, a species brought back from the brink of total extinction. What we discovered was more than a cure, she explained, her voice resonating through the massive hall. We uncovered a fundamental truth about biological adaptation and survival. Zixtal, now recovered and serving as the primary Zornak representative, stood beside her. His translucent form had regained its former vibrancy, a living testament to the treatment's success. Humanity showed us that survival is not about perfection, he addressed the assembly. It is about adaptability. The statistics were remarkable. The treatment developed by the human team had not only saved the Zornak, but had provided insights that could potentially protect other species from similar catastrophic viral events. What had begun as a potential species-ending pandemic had transformed into the most significant medical breakthrough in galactic history. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez watched from the sidelines, understanding the profound implications of their work. The research had revealed something fundamental about human biology, a unique adaptive capacity that set humanity apart from other known civilizations. We're not just survivors, Marcus had often said during their research. We're problem solvers. The Galactic Council's resolution was unprecedented. Humanity was no longer seen as a young, emerging species. They were now recognized as a critical component of galactic survival and innovation. Research collaborations, diplomatic missions, and technology exchanges flooded in from civilizations across the known universe. Maya Chen, the junior researcher whose initial insights had been crucial to the breakthrough, found herself at the center of a scientific revolution. It was never about being the strongest, she explained in numerous interviews. It was about being willing to see things differently. Ambassador Diane Reiss navigated the new political landscape with strategic precision. Humanity had gained more diplomatic capital in a single year than in the previous century of interstellar exploration. The virus that was meant to destroy had instead become the catalyst for humanity's greatest leap forward. ARIA, the research station's AI, compiled a final report that would be studied for generations. The data revealed a complex narrative of human biological uniqueness, an immune system that was less a defensive mechanism and more an intelligent, adaptive network. As the summit concluded, Zixtal approached Marcus and Alina. "You did not just save us," he said, his voice a complex mixture of gratitude and wonder. "You showed us a new way of understanding life itself." The orbital station, once a place of desperate research and potential extinction, now stood as a monument to human ingenuity. Outside its reinforced windows, the vast expanse of space seemed to shimmer with new possibilities. Humanity had proven itself not just as survivors, but as architects of hope. The galaxy would never be the same.